So you can still see the 8 on the door that marks room 8, where this female stranger supposedly died in 1816. Hi, I'm Alexa, and I'm going to be talking about the female stranger today. So this is room 8, where the female stranger supposedly stayed in 1816. The story says that she came here with a male chaperone, be it her husband, fiance, her boyfriend, whatever, a male chaperone. She came here on a boat, and she was already at death's door, basically. Very sick, and she probably wasn't going to survive. And they came to Gadsby's Tavern. Her male chaperone told the staff, take care of her the best you can, but you can tell nobody her name. Refer to her as the female stranger. And so, whenever he knew that she was going to die, he went to a stonemason and said, I need this elaborate, beautiful grave for her. But you can only say that she is 23 years of age and 8 months, and that you must call her the female stranger. And so she died on October 14th, 1816, and there are some theories that say she could be Theodosia Burr, Aaron Burr's daughter, but many of these theories have been disproven because Theodosia Burr was much older than the female stranger. There aren't too many facts to go on, seeing as the original story was published in a newspaper in 1866, roughly 50 years after the female stranger died. So we don't have a lot to go on, and there are no tavern records proving this story, but we do know that her grave is in St. Paul's Cemetery in Alexandria. Her story has been enchanting and bringing people together for nearly 200 years. If you want to learn more about her, you can go see Lady of Legend down in the gift shop, or look her up online. I know that there are plenty of websites and other videos dedicated to her, figuring out who she is, and especially about the time period that she lived in.
Hello, my name is Patrick, and I will be talking about enslaved people in Gadsby's Tavern. Gadsby's Tavern, like many establishments in early America, relied heavily on enslaved labor to run the tavern. Enslaved people of African descent did many jobs such as cooking, cleaning, taking care of the horses in the stables, bringing up ice from the Potomac River in the winter and storing it in the ice vault, emptying chamber pots, and bringing up food for room service, along with many other jobs. We know the names of 11 enslaved individuals because of an 1801 inventory. The names were Moses, who oversaw the wine cellar, Aaron, Godfrey, Goen, Henny, John, Moses, Ranny, William, and a married couple, Tom and Annie. A runaway advertisement Gadsby placed in 1808 tells us of another enslaved individual, a man named James Lewis, who took care of the horses in the city tavern's large stables. Although these men and women lived and worked in the tavern, we don't know much about their personal lives. We know a little bit more about one woman, an enslaved person named Candace. She was enslaved by John Wise, who first opened the tavern and owned both buildings. And she was free, but not in the way you might think. Alexandria had a growing population of free African Americans, and Candace was able to marry one of them, an excellent builder named London Payne. We suspect that London Payne completed some carpentry work for Mr. Wise, maybe even on his home, now known as the Lloyd House, based on the wording of Candace's manumission, or her legal release from slavery. The manumission states that Mr. Payne would work for Mr. Wise for a set amount of time in exchange for the freedom of his wife. Not much is known about Candace after that, but Mr. Payne continues to appear in the city records as a landowner into the early 1800s. Although the buildings of the tavern are both named after John Gadsby, we have to acknowledge that the tavern heavily relied on enslaved workers to become a popular tavern. And we have to be aware of these injustices when we think about the tavern's history.